Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today's film is X2, X-Men 2, X-Men United. I'm not sure which one of those is the title. Because X-Men First Class is coming out this Friday, I thought it'd be cool to review all the X-Men movies before that, and this is part of that series.
X-Men 2 starts off with an assassination on the President of the United States, and then Wolverine finding out about his past while they try to find out who this assassin. They meet him in his Nightcrawler, and then they realize Stryker, played by Brian Cox, is trying to take over the X-Mansion and also destroy all the mutants, and the X-Men basically have to stop it. I know the film is a lot more complicated than that, but for argument's sake, let's just say it's about that.
X-Men 2, from the get-go and from the trailer, I was very excited for this film. I always thought the second X-Men film would be much better than the first, just because setting up the X-Men is a difficult task in itself. Regardless of who directed the first X-Men movie, I think the first X-Men movie was always not going to be as great as the sequels could be. I don't think anyone would ever tell you the best issue of X-Men is the very first issue of X-Men. It's not only a good movie, and it has a lot of great action sequences in it. It kind of captures a certain style and a certain time period of X-Men comics. It really is influenced by Chris Claremont, who wrote X-Men from about 1975, I think, or whenever Giant Size X-Men came out, until about 91. I think this film reflects kind of 80s Claremont, and especially and obviously the graphic novel he wrote, God Loves, Man Kills. And that is actually a graphic novel. It is not like, when I'm too embarrassed to say comic books, they actually published it as a graphic novel, much like the first New Mutants graphic novel. I grew up reading the Claremont run a lot. Like, I really loved Claremont. You know, I got to meet him once when I was a kid, and he like signed New Mutants #1 for me, and he was really nice. And, you know, it was a kind of big moment in my childhood. I kind of always really looked up to Chris Claremont as a writer. This is kind of the first adaptation of X-Men that wasn't the Fox Kids show that I thought was pretty decent, and that was kind of refreshing, especially like comic book movies were new at the time. It showed a lot of possibilities for the future, and it definitely tapped into the cinematic possibilities I always thought X-Men had and still have. The beginning action sequences, assassination attempt at the president, and then the attack on the X-Mansion. I noticed that Bryan Singer, what he would do is have a lot of shots of everyone would be still and standing or sitting, and then suddenly the action sequence would go off and it'd be like the camera's always moving, or it's shooting crazy, a lot of movement, a lot of quick cuts, and like really jumpy camera movements. And then before it was, you know, very slow pace and like relaxing, and then boom, it just like comes on like a bullet, and it's very jarring and it's very exciting. He only did it twice. He didn't do it again when they actually get to Alkali Lake. And I remember like that scene when they attacked the X-Mansion, how amazing it seemed that Wolverine was really gonna cut loose in a movie. He was like really gonna go at it, and that was really awesome. I just remember like everyone in the theater was just excited, like going like, yeah, you know.
I remember seeing this, it was like the end of my freshman year of college, and I saw this at a midnight show like right before school ended, and then I think I saw it like, because I was just like bumming around Baltimore for a little bit trying to find a job, and I think I saw this movie maybe 3 or 4 times in the theaters.
Brian Cox is so perfect as Stryker. He was so good at being like a witty politician who hated mutants. He just made a perfect villain, and I don't know, I think it's a great role for Brian Cox. He lights up the movie. I think he almost steals the film from, you know, Ian McKellen and Hugh Jackman. The whole Phoenix thing is just, I don't really think it was a good idea. At the time, and in this film, I think it kind of works. And if maybe Singer had stuck around and done a third X-Men movie, maybe he would have done really great things with it. I honestly don't think the way they set it up, I can't imagine it really working. I mean, I remember when I saw the fire image in the water at the end, and it was like amazing, and you know, it seemed so awesome, and when you could see the fire coming off Jean at the end, that seemed like really cool. But I mean, as exciting as that was, I wish they had taken a little more time with it. It doesn't really, I guess, make sense why she has the Phoenix power in these movies. I guess because of that weird Magneto machine in the first one they kind of hint at, but I wish they had just kind of not done that. Bryan Singer, I think, directs a lot like Richard Donner. Richard Donner is obviously a huge influence on him, and you can definitely tell because of his Superman Returns. And even a Spielberg influence in certain camera movements I saw, like these clear, very precise tracking shots that Spielberg would always have in this film. But I think Richard Donner is his biggest influence on this. I think this is maybe his second best film, the only film I'd like more than this is The Usual Suspects. But I think that he's never really been a blockbuster big studio director.
And in this, Singer gives kind of glimpses that he could be more of an auteur director, but I think Singer doesn't really have the personality as a director to really do that.
In a way, he shows his Donner influence because Donner was always more of a studio director. I don't think he's really has what it takes to be a big budget auteur director the way a Spielberg or a Tim Burton, or, you know, even a Zack Snyder or somebody, because they have distinct styles. And Singer in this film feels like just a studio director to me. You know, I don't see the difference between this and like Martin Campbell or somebody who's just, you know, they make studio action pictures. And that's how this film is really directed. And, you know, there are too many ideas in this film. And really, I hate the kind of movie that this is in a way. All these ideas of storylines and characters, and usually that feels cluttered, but somehow Bryan Singer makes it so it doesn't feel cluttered, and how he made all the characters fit into this film. And sure, it's hard to make an X-Men movie because you have so many different characters, but this felt, the way that he used all the characters felt like an X-Men comic. And so, if you have seen X2, X-Men 2, X-Men United, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe if you would like to. And come back tomorrow for the review of X-Men: The Last Stand.